Hello YouTube, this is Saeed Mirza, and today I will be going over the functionality of the Reader website, which is accessible via your computer, tablet, or mobile device from the URL reader.quranite.com. So what is the Reader website? This website is a tool to help you study the Quran. By digitizing the Arabic text of the Quran and its translation by Sam Gerrans, we are able to search the Quran both in Arabic and English, look up specific verses of the Quran, read the copious footnotes in Brother Gerrans' translation at the click of a button, and learn the Quranic Arabic using the Quran itself. I have divided this tutorial into two parts. We will first go over the basic functionality of the site and then look at the advanced functions of the site for those who wish to learn the Quranic Arabic. Obviously, you need to know how to read Arabic to utilize these advanced functions. So let's talk about the basic functionality. Here is the main page of the site, which lists all the chapters of the Quran, chapters 1 to 114, in order. You can click on any of the chapters and the reader will take you there. Let's start with chapter 1, the opening. Now this is the verses page, and its layout is similar to the layout of the text in the PDF of Brother Gerrans' work, The Quran, A Complete Revelation. At the top we have a drop-down that lets us select the chapter we wish to go to. We can also type in the chapter number or name and it will narrow down the selection. Let's go to chapter 2. Let's talk about what we're seeing at the top here. We have in the top middle, we have the Arabic name of the chapter as well as its transliteration, and then we have the chapter number, and on the right is the chapter name in English. We're going to look at the search box here. The search box on the right can be used to search Brother Gerrans' translation for a specific word or phrase. We're going to search on Moses here to show you how this works. I click search, and what it's doing is going through the Quran and looking for the word Moses, and it finds a list of all the verses that contain the word Moses and highlights them in red. Now you can click on see all and it'll give you a list of all the verses that contain this word, and you can also scroll down and look at the individual verses. We're also going to try doing a phrase search here in the name of. Now this is an elastic search, and what that means is that it's not only going to find a phrase in the name of, it's also going to find any verses that contain a combination of these words in any order. So we have here chapter 5 verse 4 that contains the name of, and then there's the in after that, so it's going to tag this as well. Now this search does not care about capitals, it does not care about punctuation. Basically the idea behind that is that you might have like a piece of the verse, like some text that you remember. You can just put it in here and it should pull it up. Now let's talk a little bit about the about the hyperlinks that are present in the search results. We can jump to a specific verse by clicking the blue hyperlink in the center here. Let's try chapter 5 verse 4. Okay, now what it did is that it jumped you straight into chapter 5 verse 4, and it also preserves the context so you can see what comes before the verse and what comes after the verse. Okay, let's try doing jump on the search box. Now the search box has this capability where you can type in a chapter and verse separated by a colon, and it'll take you directly to this chapter verse. And usually the way you go about with these online tools is that you have to specifically select a drop down box and then traverse the verses until you find the verse you're looking for. Well, we sidestep all that. We can just jump you straight to that specific verse. So we're going to jump to chapter 2 verse 255. Alright, there you go. So now it jumped you to chapter 2 verse 255 and it highlighted it in yellow for you, and we also preserved the context so you can go up and down, and we can also traverse the chapter if we scroll to the bottom here. So this is the last page of chapter 2. And the way these pages work is that there's 50 verses in each page. So suppose if we wanted to go to the beginning of this chapter, then we would just click page 1 here, and it'll take you to the beginning of chapter 2. There you go. We're in the beginning of chapter 2 here. Now let's look at at the footnotes panel, which I think is really cool as well. We can look up the footnote accompanying Brother Gerrans' translation by clicking on it in the text. So to show you how that works, I'm going to click on footnote 2 of chapter 2, verse 2. So this is chapter 2 at the top, verse 2, and we're going to click on footnote number 2 here. Okay, so that opens up the footnotes panel, and you can read the footnote here. And the other thing that you can do is that it hyperlinks the chapter verses if they are referred to in the footnote. So we have here chapter 10 verse 37. If I click on that, it'll jump me to chapter 10 verse 37. You can also open up other footnotes while this footnote is open. So I'm going to open up footnote 1, and I'm going to open up footnote 3. So you see all these footnotes are now open for this verse, and you can close them by clicking the close button here, or you can click the footnote number again and it'll close it for you. Okay, so that's the footnotes. Now you can also go to chapters adjacent to the current chapter by clicking on the previous surah or next surah buttons, which are all the way at the bottom here. So there you have the previous surah, which will take you to chapter 1 because we're in chapter 2. Okay, now we're in chapter 1, and the next surah, which will now take you to chapter 2. So a lot of times what happens is that you reach the end of the chapter. Okay, so we're at the end of chapter 2. That's the last verse, 286. Now if I want to go to the chapter 3, I can just click on chapter next surah here, and it'll jump me to chapter 3. Okay, let's talk about the resources link here at the top. The resources link will take you to a page that houses the PDF of the complete work by Sam Gerrans, The Quran, A Complete Revelation, as well as specific sections of this work. We have the background section, the articles section, and the notepad section. And do also note that we have not digitized these parts of the work by Brother Gerrans. Only the notes and the full translation and the Quranic Arabic are available in the reader. So we're going to head back now. Okay, so we're back in chapter 3. Now we have a new functionality. It's a drop down arrow which is visible in the middle of the verses. You see here. Now if I click on this, what it'll do is open up a drop down box, and we have a couple of options here: Arabic grammar, copy Arabic, copy English, copy both, copy link. The Arabic grammar is advanced functionality, so we're going to cover that later. But copy Arabic basically copies the Arabic for you, and the copy English copies the English for you, or you can copy both. And what it does is this: it allows you to copy it into your clipboard, and then you can paste it into another application like Gmail or WhatsApp or Facebook. The other cool thing is that there's an option to do a copy link, and what this does is that it copies the verse, the chapter and verse, and creates a link that you can send to anyone else. And if that person clicks on that link, then it'll take that person to this specific verse in the reader. So I just copied that link here. I'm going to show you. Open up a new tab, and I'm going to paste that link, and it takes me to chapter 3 verse 4, which is what I copied, and highlights it as well. So that's kind of useful. Okay, so that's pretty much all there is for the basic functionality of the website. Now we're going to look at some of the advanced functionality. Now, if you are interested in learning the Quranic grammar, we have developed this functionality to help you in your endeavor. And it is specifically designed for those who can read Arabic, although they might not understand what they are reading. And that's what the part that we want to help you with. So we're going to go to chapter 2, verse 2 here. Okay, and I'm going to show you the Arabic grammar panel. We're gonna click on the middle arrow and select Arabic grammar, and this will open up the Arabic grammar panel, which gives you a line by line grammar detail of the words in the Arabic text. So we have here ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, and these words are now split up into a table format, and it also gives you the grammatical form, the root letters on which this word is constructed, as well as its base form, and a link to the various dictionaries. So we're gonna look at the word al-kitabu here, and as you can see, it says here that it's a masculine noun, and that it is based on the letters kaf, ta, ba, and it lists its base form as kitab. So we're gonna click on the al-kitabu first, and I'll show you what happens when we do that. So when we click on al-kitabu here, it opens up a new tab, and what it does is that it searches the whole of the Quranic text, the Arabic text, and looks for this specific word, al-kitabu, and highlights it in red. So there's 8 verses that contain this specific word. I'll close that now, and we're going to go back. Okay, now we're going to look at the base form, kitab. And when we click on the base form here, it again does a search, and it gives us all the words which share this base form in the Quran, highlighting them in red. So there's 236 verses found that contain the words which share this base form with the word that we searched on, kitab. And finally, I'm gonna close this one and show you the root letter search. If we click on the root letters kaf, ta, ba, the reader searches the entire Quran for all words that are constructed from this root, kaf, ta, ba. It also gives us the base forms derived from this root, so you can narrow down the results based on the base form. For example, if we take the word kitabi, if the base form kitabi, which means, which Brother Gerrans is translating as my writ, this form occurs only once in the Quran, and you can see it being highlighted here, and Brother Gerrans is translating it as my writ. Okay, let's look at another base form here. Aktataba. Now this also occurs only once in the Quran, and Brother Gerrans translates it as he has written. Okay. And he also includes a footnote explaining why he has translated this word in this manner. So we're going to click on the footnote here. Okay, and I'm going to read to you the footnote. The traditionalist position is that Muhammad was illiterate. This is the only instance of form 8 of this verb, and means to write down, to transcribe. It is true that Lane, page 2648, also records a value of to ask for something to be written, but this may be a later development arising in stories about the Prophet as illiterate. This explains renderings such as he has caused to be written and the like, which some translators offer. So we can verify Brother Gerrans' analysis by first noting that this is the only instance of this form 8 in the Quran. And we can also look at the meaning of this form 8 by opening up the Arabic grammar panel for this verse. So that's opened up now here. And we're going to look for this specific word, aktatabaha, which again is verified to be a form 8 perfect verb. And if we click on the dictionaries link here, it'll take us to its definition. We're going to look at its definition according to Hans Ward. So I'm going to click on the dictionaries button here, link here, and it's loaded up this utility that has the dictionaries already loaded. So we're in the letters kaf, ta, ba, and we're going to look for form 8 here. And form 8 says to write, to copy, make a copy, to enter one's name, etc. So you can verify that what Brother Gerrans is saying is true. So we're going to head back here now. Okay. Now there's another functionality here that I want to touch upon, and it's search by root. I'm going to click on here at the top, search by root. Okay. Now, there are many times that you might know that a word is based on the root, and you want to look to the Quran for that specific for the words that are based on that specific root. Let's, for example, take the word sajada, which is derived from the letters Sin, Jim, Dal. So we head on to this search by root link, and we use the drop down boxes to select the letters Sin, Jim, and Dal. When we click on the search button here, it lists all verses containing words formed by the root letters Sin, Jim, Dal, and it also gives us the base form that we can filter the results by. So we're gonna filter the results by the base form sajada. So there you have all the verses that have words that have the base form sajada. And now this gives us the power to easily verify that traditionalists claim that sajada means as a physical prostration while facing the direction of the Kaaba is at odds with how the Quran uses this word. For instance, in chapter 22, verse 18, we see that it says that, "Dost thou not see that to God submits whoso is in the heavens and whoso is in the earth, and the sun and the moon and the stars, and the mountains and the trees and the creatures, and many among mankind?" So Brother Gerrans has correctly translated this word as submits and not as prostrate. Okay, last link here at the top here that I want to look at, download. If you click on download translation, what it lets you do is that you can download the Arabic text and Brother Gerrans' translation in SQL, XML, and JSON formats for use in your own projects if you wish. But do note that these files do not contain Brother Gerrans' footnotes. So this is pretty much all the functionality that's available on the site. I do encourage you that if you have any feedback or want to report an issue with the site, then please email me at contact@willyouNotReason.com. In closing, we have designed the reader site to allow access to the Quranic Arabic and Brother Gerrans' translation in an intuitive manner. The grammar module now makes it possible to learn the Arabic grammar using the Quran itself and to look up meanings of the Arabic words. Finally, it gives you insight into the hermeneutical system underpinning Brother Gerrans' translation and allows you to verify his translation of key terms such as salat, zakat, sajada, etc. The reader has been designed for all user levels, and a lot of planning has gone into making the site as user-friendly as possible. I do hope you use it and encourage others to look into it as well. That's it for now. I hope everyone is doing fine. Peace and blessings be upon you.